Just a second. It's easier if I just take my phone out of the case, I think. Take it out of the case and then put it on charge. Got this heat wave. There we go. Hello, whoever's watching. I did put the link in the thing, didn't I? Yeah. Now I've got two in there too. Hello. Now I'm watching. Hello.
Hiya.
All right.
Hey.
Gotta turn my computer down a bit. There we go. Have you been all right?
Yeah, just been like job searching and that.
Yeah. Any joy?
No, I haven't really applied to much, and then obviously I'm still waiting to hear back from a couple of places.
Who you waiting to hear back from? Just IT stuff, is it? Or
One is like an office role, but I won't hear back for at least 2 weeks for that, and then like just a few other ones that I've had like here and there.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's like,
you've just had a shower or something, haven't you? You're brushing your hair.
yeah,
It looks a
I
bit
thought,
wet.
I thought I should for tomorrow because otherwise it'd be greasy.
Yeah.
And I thought I don't think it will paint me in the best light when I have to go to a job interview.
No. Yeah, thanks for letting me see your videos. When was it? Yesterday?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, to be honest, I think if you were to do it every Sunday instead of every other, I think that'd be easier for you.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, you've got enough videos pre-filmed and that.
Well, yeah, I thought I'd try and pre-film like loads so I didn't have to worry about like always constantly filming because obviously like with work, it's like obviously I thought I had to try and fit it around that as well. So that's why I wanted like loads.
Yeah. Yeah, come to think of it, you had a video up today, didn't you?
Can't remember if it was this week or last week I had one up.
Yeah, yeah, it's ASMR bubble wrap. I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
why I haven't watched. I just didn't think, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like I always forget because like even though I schedule them, I always forget once I've scheduled them like when they're even
Yeah.
meant to go up.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at my notifications neither.
Yeah.
Which is kind of annoying because really I should look at my notifications a bit more often.
Yeah, I tend to try with mine. Like, I need to go through and like delete a lot of my emails because my Gmail keeps going full.
I think it's because like a lot of the people that I've got the notification bell on for, a lot of them I don't really watch all that often.
Yeah, I think I've got loads in my subscription that I need to go through and watch. Like some people's videos, I went through a stage where like I'd constantly watch them, and then now I'm like kind of catching back up on like I think probably like 4 months worth of videos that I just haven't got through and watched.
Like I've got the bell on for DSP Gaming and I haven't watched any of his videos for bloody ages.
Yeah.
And Channel Awesome I don't really watch all that much neither. Like the people who I've got the bell on for, like I do watch them. It's just I don't really watch them all that often. If that makes sense, you know. Like I watch him explaining computers every week, you know.
Yeah.
Like I watched it today. It was about Linux and
Oh
which
yeah.
the Linux like they don't really interest me as much as they used to. I think it's because I'm more of a Windows user.
Yeah, I mean like it's quite weird with like uni because like my one of my gaming lecturers like he used Linux, so like whenever he would do like sort of he'd give us like assignment briefs, but he'd have to kind of make two versions, one for Linux and one for Windows because it wouldn't work otherwise. And like
Yeah,
he kept trying to like convert all of us that were like Windows users and have been Windows users probably since like, you know, Windows was a thing. He's always like, oh, Linux is so much better. And I'm like, no, it's fucking shit. Like, I personally, I never agreed with that. I tried it once and was just like, no.
Like, the only way that I can really use Linux for myself personally is if I use it in a virtual machine.
Yeah, I did it in a virtual machine, and I was like, I would never go as far as to like literally wipe Windows off my computer and use Linux every day. It's just, like,
Nope.
it's not for me. I'm like, no.
Like, I'd rather, like, when Windows 10 ends, like, I'd rather bypass all the hardware requirements for Windows 11 and just use Windows 11 regardless.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, Microsoft aren't that cruel, surely.
I know. It's like at the end of the day, I kind of feel like I'm like, I don't see people's big hype on like Linux. It's like it doesn't really seem that good. I'd prefer to stick with Windows.
Like, I used Ubuntu Studio on the last PC I had, and that was only because the only memory stick I had at the time was an 8 gig stick.
Yeah.
So it was big enough for me to put Linux on, but it wasn't big enough for me to put Windows 10 on it. And
Yeah.
with that, I couldn't connect it to. With that, I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to connect it to the internet. So what I had to do was when I was filming videos with Taylor, because this was when me and Taylor had started doing live streams and videos together and stuff. What I had to do was use my old laptop, which had Windows 7 on it, use that as my online thing, and then use my PC to do my video editing, which was annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, Kdenlive, like, it's better in Linux just because when you go to render out your videos, you can toggle the button for it to shut down.
Yeah.
But that's only when you use Xmind. When you use Kdenlive in Windows, it's not highlighted for you to check that box for it to shut your computer down.
Yeah.
Which for some people would be like, for me, it's not so bad because I tend to keep my computer going because regardless, my computer's always doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a look at a Real Player earlier. Do you remember me telling you about Real Player? Yeah, I had a little look at that earlier. It's changed a lot since I last used it, but then it's been over 10 years.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes when you haven't used something in ages and you go back, like there's so much like difference to it than when you've used it.
Yeah. Like you can use Real Player as a web browser. Like, you can go on YouTube and stuff like that. But I wouldn't personally use it as a web browser. I would just use it for downloading videos and that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, right, it when you go on YouTube as well, it's supposed to give you a download button, but I think that's only with Chrome and Firefox.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you've got to actually go into Real Player itself in order to do it, like.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a pain in the ass, but hey ho. But I suppose it's what happens, isn't it, when you haven't used it for so long.
Yeah.
Like I was only a kid when I last used this, so
Yeah.
that's pretty why. Because I was only 15 at the time, so I guess because I was only 15, it's like it's been 13 years now, I think, since I last used it. Because what it was my uncle. It was he was telling me about it, and he was over, and I was on my laptop at the time, and I goes to him, right, what's this real play you're on about? And he looked at me and he smiled because I think he knew that I wanted him to kind of show me.
Yeah.
Because at the time I didn't know how else to download videos from YouTube. You know, I was only 15,
Yeah.
and trying to think of what else. So basically, I was using it then for a fair bit. I was going on because I think at that time I think I was using Firefox, I think, or Google Chrome, whereas now I use Brave to do um, my YouTube and that.
Yeah.
But then I should still get the download thing because Brave is basically by the same people who've done Google Chrome, like it's based on Google Chrome.
Yeah.
So really, I should still get the download button, like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit strange. It's very strange, actually. It's a bit weird. Like you'd think that they would just give it to you, kind of thing. Because I
Yeah.
always used it as well to download videos off um the real player thing. I also used it as well to download stuff from Metacaf as well. Because back when I was using the thing, Metacaf was still about,
Yeah.
so I would use that, like, as well. But yeah, I think real play though has changed a lot since I last used it, which it's gonna change a fair bit anyway. Do you get me? It's not gonna be the same as it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was looking at like YouTube videos as well on how to use it, and a lot of people. Now this is people from like 10 years ago though, 10 plus years ago. A lot of people were saying it was like spyware for some reason,
Yeah.
which I find that a bit ridiculous because I was like I said, I was using it for quite a bit,
Yeah.
and my laptop was fine. I didn't have
Yeah.
any issues, so.
Oh, the chat's gone. Oh,
But it is what it is. I suppose it's just a learning curve.
yeah. It's not like everything kind of is.
Yeah. It's annoying because like when things aren't how you remember them, it's like, especially when something was really complicated as well, and then you get used to it, and then they change things again. It's like you've got to get used to it all over again.
Yeah, I find that with like a lot of stores I've gone in recently, like because I know where everything is, and now they've changed like the layout of the store. I'm like, that thing isn't where I know it is, and it annoys the hell out of me. But obviously, I can't do anything because it's a fucking store. I don't work there.
Yeah.
Not like I can go and rearrange it back where how I like it. If I'm at home, then I can.
Yeah.
I love how the chat's been quiet all day, and then all of a sudden they're all in the chat.
You what?
I was like, my auntie set up like a chat just so that like if like the family wanted to talk about anything, like they can all just message in the chat, and like they've been quiet all day, and then now all of a sudden they're all like, because one of our family members went to Tenerife, and because of what's going on in Tenerife at the moment, they're like, have you watched it? Have you seen it? And I'm like, yeah, I've seen it. I'm like, yeah, I've seen it. I'm like, I think there's more to the story than they're letting on, but I guess nobody will know.
Yeah.
Because a guy went missing in Tenerife, but it just seems a bit weird.
Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about that a fair bit as well.
Like people have been sharing stuff online, and like a lot of the things surrounding him going missing just doesn't seem right. Like the fact that like there's a GoFundMe page for him, and like the amount has changed a few times of what goal they wanted.
Right.
Because it was started up as 10k, then it turned to 20, and now it's like 30k, and I'm just like, why would you? I'm like, for one, why would you need a GoFundMe, like which they've claimed is meant to be for his mum being able to stay out in Tenerife? I'm like, it doesn't cost 30k to stay out in Tenerife.
Like, do you think they might be putting it on, or?
I feel like it's really weird because I'm like, for one, if someone had gone missing in a foreign country, like for one, like the search obviously for him is paid, like that's not coming out of his mum's money, that's coming out of, the police are paying for that. Obviously her staying out there, like people have offered her accommodation, so for a GoFundMe to be set up for his mum to stay out there just doesn't seem right, and why she would need that much money to stay out there if people have offered her free accommodation.
Yeah, it does seem a bit odd.
And then when his friend, who apparently like she says, phoned him to say that he had 1% battery and it is in literally the middle of nowhere and is thirsty, and then his phone dies. Like, she said he phoned her at like 8 something, and then she changed it to a completely different time, and I was like, well, when was it then? I was like, if someone's phoned you, I think you'd remember that it was like, because she said like 8:15 and then she said like 8:30, and people were going, if like she apparently goes to Tenerife quite often.
Right.
And people were like, what doesn't add up is like, she said that because they went to a rave, like basically like the night before, like he basically was reported missing. Apparently she had left early. He'd gone off with people that he met that day and went back to like their accommodation. And obviously he was trying to get back to where him and his friend were staying. And that's when he phoned her going, I have 1% battery, and then disappeared, and she reported him missing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, apparently he had shared her location with her so that she knew where he was. I'm like, if she knew where he was, why didn't she go to where he was? Why is she not even gone there? Because she's been to Tenerife quite a few times where he'd never been to Tenerife.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you've been somewhere enough and like you've been to that foreign country more than a few times, you're gonna know where everything is. Like, it's a bit weird that she didn't go to him when she knows where he was.
Yeah, it is a bit weird.
And then she doesn't want her face on the news either. So like every like sort of part that she's been in, you just see the back of her fucking head, and I'm just like, it seems a bit weird. I'm like, you don't want your face on the news, but you'll happily be on the news and talk about him, but don't want your face to be shown. And then her thing is, oh, my phone number was in the like missing persons like post that was put up, and I'm like, but that doesn't understand why you wouldn't want to be on the news.
I know, it is a bit weird.
And then there's speculations that like she's like involved with like drugs, and that the reason why he's missing is basically she was doing a job for him, he'd lost something or whatever, and now they're holding him for that money, which is what apparently people think the GoFundMe is for. Because I was like, it's a bit weird why you'd set up a GoFundMe page apparently to be able to stay out in a foreign country.
Yeah, it is a bit weird.
I was like, I've never seen anyone else that's ever gone missing. Like, there wasn't one for Nicola Bulley when she went missing and she was found like months later. No one ever set up one for her. So I'm like, why randomly set one up for him, but other people have gone missing and never set one up for them to help with the case in any way, shape, or form? It just seems a bit weird.
Was there a GoFundMe set up when Madeleine McCann? In fact, was there even such thing as a GoFundMe when
they had like, I know that like they did have like, they have like, I think it's like Madeleine like foundation that her mum set it up, but I don't think it was set up like straight after she went missing. Like, people could sort of, they did make money out of it, like for people to donate and sort of try and help with the investigation, but I don't think it was like straight after she went missing that they set it up. But it is still a thing, like for Madeleine McCann, but I don't think they get much of it now. But it's just like, it's a bit weird. It's like, the story just seems a bit weird. Like, even my auntie's like going, like, if you were his friend and you knew where he was, why wouldn't you go there when you're on holiday with him?
Yeah.
It just seems, and she's like, if you've been away quite a few times, because she's been seen to like have gone on quite a few holidays, and apparently she's been to Tenerife quite a few times within the last like year or like 2 years. So people are like going, why wouldn't you go and find your friend? Why are you not really doing much, it looks like? And then she was sat there on the news like saying that the police aren't doing a lot, and I'm like, they're in a foreign country, like obviously they're in Tenerife, there's obviously going to be a language barrier in Tenerife because a lot of them don't obviously speak English. And I'm also like, they can only do so much. Like, what do you expect out of them?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, whenever there's been a case anywhere that someone's gone missing who's British, like, the police over here can't get involved with a foreign case unless like they physically need to. A lot of the time they're told basically just to stay out of it because they have no jurisdiction. So it's like people are moaning that the police here aren't getting involved, and I'm like, well, one, there's a language barrier. Two, also, what are we going to be able to do that Tenerife's police aren't already doing? They've already tried to search where his last known location is, which they've found nothing.
Yeah.
Like not even one sighting of him, like no report sightings. Like people have like done that sort of, because it was in a like sort of trail that most hikers would do, and people are like going, well, there's different tracks, but people are like, you'd have no reason to sort of go off of the road that he was on to go somewhere else. And people are like, it's a bit weird that there's nothing to say that he was even there. Apart from this known like pinch location that people have. Everyone's like, other than that, you've got nothing to go off of.
Yeah, it is a bit weird, isn't it?
I'm just like, because where they said like he was to where his last location was, like on the map, it's like literally he was here, and then all of a sudden his last location is like up here, and I'm like, you could drive there, but also it's just a bit weird. I'm like, why would there be nothing of you if you've disappeared?
Yeah, it is a bit strange.
You're kind of like, and I'm also like, if you had 1% battery, how would you have enough time to be able to make a phone call? Because you'd have to wait for your phone to ring through to that person and then wait for them to answer. My phone would die before it even got through to anyone. So I don't know how he managed to speak to his friend before his phone died.
Yeah. Unless it hadn't been on 1% for very long. Because what I found with phones is, like a lot of phones, the battery does last for quite a while on 1%.
Yeah, it just seems a bit weird though, because it was like he was at somebody's house. So people are like, if you knew your phone was dying, why would you not have charged it before you left? So go back to wherever you are, because people are like, it's a bit weird just randomly being like 1% battery. And people are like, why would you wait until your phone gets to 1% battery to phone somebody to tell them that you're thirsty and you have no water and you're basically lost in the middle of nowhere? People are like, it's a bit dodgy that you would wait until your phone's near enough dying to make that phone call.
Yeah.
You'd think you'd give yourself enough time to be able to talk to that person, probably send them your location, whatever, this and that, and then your phone die, rather than just...
Yeah. But I mean, the chances of him being found alive now, they were pretty slim, aren't they?
Well, he's been gone for like, I know it was like 72 hours the other day. Like, it's like everyone's still convinced that fucking Madeleine McCann's alive. And I'm like, she's fucking long gone. Like, she was long gone when it freaking happens. Like,
I know.
I'm like, people are so convinced that like she's going to be found. And I'm like, it's very fucking slim. Anyone that's ever gone missing, it's very slim if you ever find them alive.
Yeah.
I think the only case that I know where like someone who was a kid got found was like 10 years after she went missing, but like that took a long time for police to like actually verify that it was her, because first of all they just thought, oh, it's a prank caller kind of thing.
Yeah, there was one I heard about. There was a girl that went missing in, I want to say 1991, and she was found in 2009, I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was though.
Yeah, I've only heard of like quite a few that get found, but it's like you do get to a point where like you're like, if you're not found within 24 hours, there's highly likely chance that you ain't alive at that point, that you're dead.
Yeah, well, it depends, because I mean, there's a possibility as well that somebody could be found like 48 hours after they've disappeared. It could just be dehydrated.
Yeah, I felt like the guy in Tenerife, I'm convinced that something's probably happened to him. Like, I feel like I'll be surprised if he's found fine, but I feel like something's gone on that just doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Because it's just like the random way that he disappeared as well, and then everything else that's come out since. Like, a lot of people have gone, like, people have made like videos going, oh, he's been found. Other people have made videos like on TikTok going, he's dead, this and that. And I'm like, nobody knows. But like, the interviews I've seen, like, none of them really look that sad. Like, you'd think if a member of your family or something has gone missing, you'd think you'd at least look a bit more hysterical on TV rather than they just look normal.
Yeah.
Like, his mum didn't even look sad, and like, watching the interview of her, it's like she couldn't even physically look at the camera guy in, like, literally like directly at the camera. She's not even looking at it in any way, shape, or form. And I'm like, you don't even seem that sad.
I know, it's weird, isn't it?
I'm like, your kid is missing. Like, they've all like made statements saying that they didn't want him to go on this holiday, like that they had to persuade him to go to Tenerife. I'm like, if someone doesn't want to go on a holiday, why would you persuade them to go? Like, obviously he didn't want to go for a reason, like whatever reason that was, but then to persuade him to go and then he disappears, it's kind of like, and you don't look sad about it. Like, it's like, come on.
I know, it is a bit weird, isn't it?
I'm like, if that was me and like frigging, I was sad when Jasper disappeared for like literally only like 2 hours. He still came back, but I was fucking hysterical. I'm like fucking crying. But I didn't know if he was coming back, and it was pitch black at this point. So obviously I was like, I don't know where Jasper is. Jasper didn't really know my old area very well. Like, he knew certain gardens, but I was like, if he wanders too far, he ain't gonna know where he is.
No, he's not, is he?
So I was like, I was still hysterical. Even when he came back, I was like, there, like, I was too scared to let him out my sight that he would disappear again. He didn't. Can't go very far without pretty much anyone anymore.
Yeah, it is a bit weird, isn't it? Do you get me?
Yeah, it's like so many cases are like weird. It's like even the Madeleine McCann one, like, I don't know why they've dragged it out this long. I'm like, every other kid that's ever gone missing, they've never had that much media like coverage as Madeleine's parents have.
No.
It's like you get the odd, like, oh, they're missing, you know, you'll get their face in the news for like a couple of days and then you never hear about them again. Madeleine, she's been brought up many times since she disappeared. And I'm like, the girl ain't alive. Just let her be in peace. Like, and then that they're trying to pin it on a guy who's already in prison for other things. I'm like, I very find it highly unlikely that he had anything to do with it. Like, I'm like, for one, he's German, and I'm also like, they're pinning it on him literally just because of the fact that he was also in the same area that she went missing in. I was like, what evidence do you have that it's him?
Precisely.
I'm like, it just seems a bit weird. I feel like they just want to pin it on him, but I'm also like, I don't think it's him.
Yeah, it is a bit weird.
That's like when they named him as a like known suspect, and I'm like, it's been years. I'm like, if he was a known suspect, why didn't you name him as a known suspect when it happened? Why is it taken years to go, it's this guy? Doesn't really add up. And I'm also like, everybody, I feel like, even I still believe it was her parents. They don't want to admit to it, but they were dodgy as shit, and they still are.
Yeah, but then what I don't understand though is why was it Madeleine McCann in particular?
A lot of people's speculation is because, like, she obviously, because she had obviously blue eyes, and also they were like, because she's blonde. I'm like, there's loads of kids that are blonde. Doesn't make any difference. But I'm also like, if it happened anywhere else or to anyone else, like, if it happened in the UK in like a holiday park, you wouldn't have your other kids that they have. they would have been put in care, but her parents get to keep their other children. Doesn't really make much sense.
Yeah.
If that happened to a lady that lived in, like, I don't know, a council estate, you'd know straight away that they'd be like, yeah, the other kids, we're taking them and we're putting them in foster care. And nothing happened to them. They were apparently dropped as having anything to do with the case, but they get to still raise their other kids, which I'm like, if you're going to take a kid, why would you take a kid that could talk against two babies that, yeah, can cry, but they can't speak? So to be fair, you're probably better off taking a baby than you are a child that can actually talk and scream.
Precisely.
I'm like, why are you going to take basically 3-year-old? She was going to be 4. Well, like, why would you take a kid that's going to literally be able to say, that's my kidnapper, that ain't my parent, that ain't my dad, against a baby that can't pretty much say, oh yeah, they kidnapped me, because they're a fucking baby. They can't talk. It just seems a bit weird why they take one kid and not all of them.
Yeah, it is a bit, isn't it?
I'm like, when it came out, and I was like, why would you take one and not the others? I'm like, if anything, I'm like, if you're going to kidnap a kid, like, you probably go with ones that can't talk compared to a kid that's going to be able to talk. I'm like, yeah, you're going to get far with a kid that can talk. Like, for one, they're probably going to just hell on you anyway, and then you're being shit. It's like, why would you risk it?
Some people do, though, for some reason.
Yeah. It's just like the fact that people still think she's alive, though, and I'm like, oh, that's long gone.
Precisely.
I'm like, her parents did it, they just don't want to admit it.
Yep, precisely.
I'm like, they weren't stupid. I'm like, one of them worked in literally, like, was a doctor and pretty much probably could get their hands on drugs of any sort and give sleeping tablets to their kids, because that's what they did to make them go to sleep.
Yep.
Because in one of the interviews that they had, obviously, like, her mum even said that the night, I think it was a few nights before, obviously it happened, that she'd said to them in the morning, why didn't you come when I was crying? It's like, you're kind of like, also, why would you go to a foreign country and leave your 3 kids unattended in a room on their own?
Exactly. You shouldn't do that, should you?
It's like, you wouldn't do that in your own home. Like, it's not like you could go, oh yeah, I'm going to the like corner shop down the road and leave your kids. Like, a lot of people would be like, can't do that, but they did and went to a tapas bar, even though the hotel they were staying in had a babysitting service where someone would come and watch your kids while you went out, and they didn't use that.
Well, they should have, shouldn't they?
I know. I was like, doesn't really make sense. If a hotel's going to offer you that and you've got kids and you know that you want to go out, you're probably, like, most parents would use that service and go, okay, we can still go out, but know that our kid is safe.
Yep.
Just like,
Yeah, there was a little documentary, wasn't there? It was called The Disappearance of Madeleine McCann or something.
yeah, I did actually watch that, and even the freaking documentary, I'm like, stuff they said in it, I'm like, they can't say that it wasn't them or that they had no involvement in it. It's like, you left your kids for one, and it's also like, even forensic evidence of, like, Portuguese police, like, they even got sniffer dogs in, and 2 of those dogs were trained in 2 completely different things. One was trained to find, like, basically to smell like dead corpse, which they smell in the cupboard of their bedroom and then behind the sofa.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they can't say that she didn't die in that apartment. And then they couldn't say fully, but they found a blonde, like, speck of Madeline's hair in the back of the rental car that they rented days after she disappeared. So how would her hair be in the back of a car that they rented after she disappeared? Doesn't really fully add up. And I'm kind of like, and they still say they didn't do anything to their kid. I'm like, it doesn't add up though.
No, it doesn't, does it?
And then she washed, like, her mum washed, like, the teddy that Madeline was holding. And I'm like, why would you wash something of your child's after they disappeared? Because obviously it would have smelt like Madeline, unless you've got something to hide, which is why you washed it.
Yep.
I'm kind of like, you wouldn't wash it for any other reason. Like, you'd want to keep whatever thing you have left of that kid.
Yep, precisely.
I read, like, bits of her book that she read about her, and I'm like, why would you think that writing a book about your kid would be a good thing to do?
Money in it, probably.
I felt like they got more publicity than anybody. Like, there are other kids that went missing at the same time as her, and nobody ever talks about them.
I know.
I remember a boy that, like, I can't remember if his name was Ben, but I think he went missing, like, around the same time as her. And, like, I don't think he ever got that much media attention or any at all. And he disappeared, and I don't still think they found him.
Well, they didn't find it.
No, like, he went missing. Like, he was at his grandparents, and, like, he was playing, like, they said that he was playing outside, and then, like, all of a sudden, like, his nan or granddad went out to see him, and, like, he just disappeared. Like, he wasn't there. And obviously they'd done their own searching, like, around sort of their kind of area to see if they could find him. Obviously that's when they obviously then reported him missing, but, like, I don't think they ever found him. Like, nobody knows what happened to him, but I never saw one thing on the news about him. And he disappeared, I think, around the same time as Madeline. And I'm like, you see all these kids that disappear, and then it's like nothing's said about them, but Madeline is brought up, like, years later.
Yeah.
Like,
But
they talk
people-
about her, like, every year on her birthday and go, oh, it's 16 years or whatever, like, anniversary of her disappearance. And I'm
like, apparently, right, they still buy her stuff at Christmas. They still buy Madeline McCann stuff at Christmas time. And
what I don't understand is, like, why would you do that? Like, her parents know that she ain't coming back, that she ain't alive. Like, why? Like, at that point, I just feel like it's a bit stupid why they're buying her stuff, because she's never going to open it.
plus, as well, like, even if she did magically come back, like, a lot of the stuff that they would have got her, she wouldn't want to use now anyway, because she'd be a lot older now. So any dolls or anything, you know, kids' makeup sets or anything like that, you know, Madeline wouldn't want any of that now.
No, and I'm like, even if she did like randomly turn up, I felt like more than anything, she's going to be like, why have their parents not really done a lot? Like, they came home quickly after she disappeared. Like, they didn't stay around to, like, you know, help search for her or nothing. They were on the first fucking flight back home. I'm like, if your kid's gone missing in a foreign country, you be there searching for as long as it takes. Like, eventually you'd have to go home, fair enough. But, like, her parents were out of there soon after they reported her missing.
Yeah, they didn't stay around for very long, did they?
No, and, like, what makes me weird is, like, they did, like, an interview where it's like something like 49 or like 50 odd questions. They wouldn't answer any of them. They just goes no comment to everything. I'm like, if your kid went missing, you'd answer every fucking question you're asked.
Yeah.
Rather than going no comment, no comment. And they look dodgy as hell in every interview. Like, they're, like, just shifting in their chair. And I'm like, if you're asked a question about your kid, like, you're not going to look like shifty.
Yeah, precisely.
And I'm like, the fact they're trying to pin it on a guy that's in prison, I'm like, you didn't do it. You just want to blame someone. And this guy's what they've got.
Like, how long has the guy been in prison?
He's been in prison, like, he's in prison for, like, he raped, like, I think it was for, like, rape cases and other ones, but, like, he's been in there literally, like, since, like, 2000 and something, but I'm like, it's a bit weird why they randomly have all of a sudden now trying to pin it on him. I'm like, what, just because he lived in Pride de Luz, like, at the time of her disappearance? I'm like, that doesn't mean that he did it. Multiple people live there. You could literally go, it's somebody that lives literally across the road from where she stayed. Like, I don't see what evidence they physically could have on that man to go, it's him. I feel like they just want to blame someone so that they can sort of like close the case and sort of be like done with it in a sense, because, you know, they keep bringing it up all the time. I'm just like, just let her be gone.
Yeah, it is a bit strange, isn't it?
I'm just like, you don't see any other case of kids that have gone missing that they've ever brought that case back up like years later. It's kind of like, you know, you never hear about it. So you're kind of like, people just make the assumption of, okay, they're probably dead or like something bad happened to them, but you never know. I'm like, there's a girl that went missing in Japan. Nobody ever talks about her case. Nobody knows what happened to her. She could be alive, she could be dead. No one knows.
Precisely.
And like, she went to Japan in like 2008. She got a one-way flight, which pretty much they don't like if you get a one-way flight there, because they see it as you're not going to leave. But she managed to get a one-way flight. She
Yeah.
lived in America, and her family didn't know that she got this one-way flight there. They know that she arrived at obviously specific airport, but after that there's been no sightings of her. Like, they've gone back to the Japan sort of embassy this year to sort of submit a new DNA sample just to see if maybe that gives them any leads. But that case has never been talked about, and she was like, I think she was like 20 or 21 when she went.
Mm.
And her family know nothing. They don't know if she's alive or not, but it's pretty much a mystery for them in a sense. But I'm like, what do people expect?
Yeah, exactly.
But then, like, everyone is so like optimistic that Madeline's just gonna appear out of nowhere, like, hello. I'm
I
like,
know.
I feel like if she was, she would have done it by now. And like, the fact that they bring it up every time on her anniversary, I'm just like, if that was me and I was dead, I wouldn't fucking want someone to like be on national TV bringing it up like every freaking year.
Nope.
You'd be like, I just want to be left, you know, freaking at peace.
Yeah, well, a lot of people would, though, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, it just seems a bit weird. Just like, you know, everyone's like, so many people go missing a year, and you don't get that much media coverage for it. But Madeline's had so much money paid in to look for her with no freaking clues for years.
Mm.
And then randomly now they want to pin it on a guy that's already in prison doing prison time for something else. He ain't getting out anytime soon.
Nope.
Like, the guy's going to be in prison for ages, like most people that go to prison. It's like one guy that tried to request that he be released, and he killed a kid when he was like a kid himself. They won't let him out.
No, they won't, will they?
Oh no, he already tried. Like, he was released once and then brought back into prison because he offended again, and then he's tried to go to the parole board like twice to ask for release, and they've been like, no, because they're scared that he would be a danger for the public. So I'm like, that guy ain't ever coming out of prison.
Nope.
And even if you do come out of prison, you're normally given a new identity so that, you know, you're protected in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit odd. You know?
Yeah, I feel like there's loads of cases that are quite odd. It's like everyone with the whole like Ruby Frankie one. I'm kind of like, she got what was coming to her. Just her kids did have to endure quite a lot.
I know. Like,
Kind of feel bad for them because they shouldn't have had to go for it, to be fair.
plus as well, like, they didn't see each other for fucking months, and they lived in the same fucking house.
I know, that's what I don't understand. It's like, you lived in the same house. How could you not have seen each other or like been in the same proximity of where you are?
Mm.
And like even now that their mum's in prison, like they all don't see each other. Like I know the younger ones, like they don't see their older siblings. Like there's not been anything where like any of the older ones have said, "Oh, we've gone to see," like the younger ones. It's like they just don't have anything to do with them.
Yeah.
Like Chad bought I know Chad bought like presents for like the younger two, but like he's never really like I know they've said they wouldn't post them on social media because they didn't agree with what their mum did, like having their face out on social media. Like they've said that they want the two younger ones to basically be off and not in the spotlight. And I'm kind of like, you can't really go from being in the spotlight to try and take someone out of it completely. Like it just doesn't work.
But the bizarre thing is that like they started off with having fun, didn't they? Because they had a YouTube channel, wasn't they, called 8Passengers, and everyone was having fun with it, right up until Ruby was filming them having personal conversations, and
Yeah, I feel like when you do that, it's kind of like you know it ain't gonna be the best after that. And it's also like the fact that they're now trying to like keep the younger ones out of the spotlight. It's like, yeah, but they were in videos for years. Like you can't keep them away from it. Like it's quite like I see YouTubers that like some of them will like one had her kid in videos and then now she's kind of like tried to delete her kid's basically face out of everything.
yeah, but it's a bit late, especially with nowadays, like where you can just download videos from YouTube like that.
I know, I'm kind of like to people, I'm like, if you don't want somebody in a video, then you just don't make that video in the first place so that it's not anywhere publicly that people can get access to. It's like you kind of screw yourself at that point. It's like, yeah, either like if you're a parent and you're filming your kid, you're either gonna keep them completely out of pictures and not film them at all, or you're gonna film them.
Yep.
It's like I've seen loads of people on like TikTok that have tried to like take their kids out of like videos, and then people always will make comments going, "Oh, where's your kid? Why don't you film your kid? You don't love your kid." And then like the like mum or dad will come on and like sort of make such a big song and dance about it and being like, "It's not that I don't love my kid, I'm trying to protect my kid." And I'm like, but you filmed your kid in the first place and put them out online, so obviously you weren't protecting them if you were happy to put their face out there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you want to take your kid off of social media to protect them. It's like you either take a photo of them or you don't.
Yeah.
It's like I've had people like on Facebook that like they don't like they've put pictures up of their kid and then all of a sudden they try and take them all down. And I'm like, people know what your kid looks like. You've put it out there.
I know. Plus, like, it's a bit late as well when people have got like copies of the videos.
I know. I'm like, people can download pictures and whatever. Like, it's kind of like you've put it out there. Like, it could be online for like an hour. You don't know how many people can save a video in an hour or a photo.
Like I can save, right, like say, like I could save, like, say, a thumbnail of my of one of my old live streams, right, and I could say, like, make like stretch out like your face or whatever, like, do you get me?
Yeah.
I haven't done that for a while, man. Stretch I think it's because it's just doing the same thing with different pictures, so I guess in a way it sort of gets a bit boring,
Yeah.
you know.
But it's just like when people make such a song and dance about like social media, and then they go, "Oh, social media is not a really good place," and I'm like, you put shit out there, it's on you.
Like, I've got, right, on my hard drive thingy, I've got videos, right, that my friend made for me, but it was he put them on unlisted and just sent me the links privately because he'd done them for me. They were Sony Vegas Pro videos on how to do certain things, like, and I've got all those videos saved.
Yeah.
You know, I've got them saved just to make things a bit easier, like.
Like I've got like pictures and stuff, but like I've got a lot more like wary of what I post now, like what I choose to share on stuff, because I'm just like, I don't need to share everything.
Yeah.
Like I used to share like a lot of pictures that I don't even share now, like family pictures. I won't, because it's like I then have to go through sort of every avenue of like obviously getting everyone's permission who's in that photo if it can be uploaded.
Yeah.
Which obviously for a lot of people, some family members, like they don't care. They're like, yeah, like you're free to upload it. Like more like my older family members, like if I took a photo of my great nan, like she's not gonna really be able to, like she's 90 odd, she ain't really gonna be able to consent to whether she wants it out on social media. Like she'd just be like, she doesn't really understand the whole social media thing, so she'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I said, like I've already said to her, like I wouldn't really want to put that out there, like because obviously it's not my place to, and it doesn't really need to be out there.
Like with me, it's like I'm not really all that bothered about what people do, but I think it's because I'm sort of out there anyway, so it's like I'm sort of, I'm sort of at the point where I'm like, whatever. But
Yeah, I
then,
feel like certain things, yes, with me, and then other things I've kind of over the years I've got a bit more restrictive in certain things I share, just because I'm like, well, that doesn't need to be on social media, or it has no reason to be out there.
yeah, and plus as well, like, you've also got to think about the fact as well that, like, there's a lot of AI and that going around now, isn't there?
Yeah. Like I used to have people that like they would, like if I went out with them, they would like tag like the location of like where they are, and they'd
Yeah.
always tag me in it, and I'd be like to people, like now I've always been like to people, if I'm with you, I'm like, if you want to tag your location, fair enough, but I'm like, I want nothing to do with it. I'm like, you tag me in it, I'm literally going to remove my tag from that post, because I'm like, I'm like to people, I'm like, I don't need people to know where I am or what I'm doing. I'm like to people, I'm like, I don't tag my location for anything. Don't need to.
Like if people are gonna do that, then tag the location after the fact.
I know. I'm like to people, like there's people that will do it as they're there. Like I've had people that like they tag their location that they're at the hospital, and I'm like, why? Who gives a fucking shit if you're at the hospital? And you know the Facebook comments that are going to come of what's wrong? Why are you at the hospital? PM me kind of fucking shit.
Oh, I know.
The amount of people that I'd have that would do that. And then, when they go, oh, I'm not going to say on here, PM me privately kind of thing. And I'm like, fucking asking for attention at that point. Even though you've specifically written on a post, I'm not going to say it, and then you'll happily message people about it of why you're at the hospital. It's like, no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
I'm like to people, I'm like, you don't see me checking in at the dentist when I go for an appointment. Like, I don't give a fucking shit. I've gone to the fucking dentist. Like,
Yeah.
I'll message like the odd person to go, oh yeah, by the way, I'm in the dentist in case I don't reply to your message. But I won't happily post it over Facebook and go, I'm at the dentist. But people are gonna people would comment back going, good for you. You'd be like, people are, why are you posting that? Like,
yeah.
people are like, are you sad?
Yeah, because some people because a lot of people tend to do that for attention, though, don't they? A lot of people
I
post
know.
it for
I see
attention.
so many people on Facebook that will post like literally everywhere they are. They have to check in, and I'm just like, they're going, nah. It's like people have done it with me before. I've gone to the cinema and they're checking that we're at the cinema. They're checking what cinema we're at and what film we're going to see. I'm like, I don't fucking want people to know I'm at fucking Odeon Cinema or whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm like, you do it on your own Facebook.
Yep.
I'm like, I want nothing to do with it. I don't need people to know where I am.
Precisely.
I'm like, if I wanted people to know my location, I'd happily fucking just post it out there online and go, this is where I live, this is my address, there you go. It's like people that get upset about it on YouTube, and I'm like, people are going to find out where you live. People will try.
Yep.
And the amount of big YouTubers that are like, please, fans don't come to my house. I'm like, people are going to try. They shouldn't. Fair enough. But people will try.
Yeah, they shouldn't, but people do crazy shit, don't they?
They shouldn't, but people will. Freaking, most people will try, or they try and send you a fucking letter or some shit, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous, isn't it?
I know, I remember, like, my little cousin, like, she doesn't do videos anymore, but when she did, like, I don't know why she thought it was a freaking good idea, but she decided to share her house address on Lights, where I'm like, why have you done that? Because that video's out there now. I was like, it doesn't matter if you fucking take it down. People can download that shit. People can save it. Who fuck knows? On Lights, where I'm like, it's not a good idea to do. I'm like, yeah, get taught never to fucking give that shit out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, especially online, I'm like, you don't know what anyone can do with that information.
Exactly.
I'm like, I said it to people, like, after I graduated, like, a lot of people were sharing, like, what they walked away from uni with. And because the sort of system that, like, my uni has, it has your name, your date of birth, it will have your house address along the top, and it has your phone number on it a lot of the time. And people would just share it, and, like, I'm like, I don't think people realise that they've literally just put out such a lot of information about themselves online. And I'm there individually messaging people going, you've got your phone number out there now, you've got your date of birth out there, and you've got your fucking house address for every fucker to know. I'm like, fair enough, you want to show what you've walked away with grades wise. I'm like to people, crop the image so it just has the grade rather than everything else above it.
Yep. It's simple enough to do in Photoshop as well.
I cropped mine out. Like, I took a big screenshot of it, and then all I did was I went on to like an editing app that I had on my phone and literally just scribbled out all the information that I didn't want out there, because I was like, people don't fucking need to know that.
Yeah, another good Photoshop alternative as well. It's called Photopea.
Yeah.
That's another good Photoshop alternative.
I was like, why have you put that out there? And like, I've even said it to people now that will be graduating, being like, if you're gonna stick your grades online, I'm like, make sure you fucking scribble out the information beforehand, because like, people only need a certain amount, and that's it. I'm like, it's not hard to make fraud these days with literally barely any information. I'm like, that's why I'm careful what I tap my fucking card on anymore, because card readers look like they're real, but a lot of them can have covers over the top of them. So I found that in a shop. They tried to. I was going to tap my card on it, and then I was like, yeah, no, I'm not even paying for it. In the end, I was like, don't want it. Because I knew the card, like the actual like card reader was dodgy. It had a cover over the top of it, and I'm like, no, I'm not putting my card on it. I'm like, I was like to him, like the guy's like, he's like, oh, you can tap it. I'm like, no, I don't want it. And he's questioning me. He's like, why don't you want it? I'm like, the card reader's dodgy. I'm like, it's not a real card holder. I was like, you're going to take my details. I was like, I know enough to notice when one doesn't look right. And I was like, that one don't look right.
Precisely.
I'm like, some of them, they can stick like at the bottom where like people type their like card number in. Like they can put a cover over the top of it, which all they have to do is like it saves that information. I'm like, no, I've seen enough TikTok videos and fucking shit to know when one don't look right. And I was like, that one, nah, that one ain't real. It's like, nope.
Precisely.
I was like, I've had fraud on my card before. I ain't risking it again.
No, I wouldn't either.
I had to ring my bank. That was fucking fun. Like freaking 2 days before Christmas, I had to cancel my bank card.
Oh.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed. My mum freaking stuck her details into this. It's like, don't know why the fuck she thought it was real. It was like a lad baby like giveaway thing. It wasn't. It was a fake, obviously. But my mum stupidly believed it. She fucking sticks her details into this thing. She's like, oh, you do it. We get a better chance of doing it. So I don't know why I didn't even fucking think, nah, this ain't real. Fucking sticks my card details in it. They tried to take £99 off my bank card.
Ooh.
They tried to take 94 off my mum's. I froze my bank card because obviously I could freeze it on the app. I had to ring the bank the next day because it's like fucking 10 at night. They ain't fucking open. So rings them first thing in the morning with the fraud number on the back of my card. I have to go through the whole like security fucking question before they can access my account. They tried to take another 1,000 from my bank account after I froze my card. Which I was like to the guy when I froze my card, and I was like, obviously they already took this amount. And then the 1,000 odd after I froze my account. I was like, will I get those amounts back? Because obviously, you know, it's not like I could afford to lose that amount of money.
No.
And he was like, the 1,000 that they tried to take after I froze my account, he was like, no, that will bounce back because obviously my card wasn't active at that point. He was like, the 90 odd freaking quid, he was like, technically that's pending. He was like, we can try and get it back from the bank account that they sent it to, but he was like, most people that do fraud generally will try and wipe that account as soon as they've done it. So he's like, we may not be able to retrieve that amount, but he was like, we're trying to retrieve whatever amount we can.
Yeah.
And sort of compensate the other amount. So he was like, because it was 2 days before Christmas, he was like, you're not going to get a new bank card till probably the new fucking year.
Oh.
And I was like, great, because like I had stuff that I was going to buy, but I was waiting like sort of until after Christmas to like buy them because I thought, oh, they'll come down in price. I couldn't even buy anything because I was like, I ain't got a bank card, can't use my bank card. I was like, got to wait for my new bank card to come in. And then obviously the bank were looking at my account like after they gave me my new card just to make sure that like every payment was me making it and not a fraudulent one from somebody else that had my details. So it's like I would have to go through on the app, and before I could fully like pay for something in a shop or online, I had to verify if it was me before they would basically release the funds.
Yeah.
And it was like, I remember like I was in work, like I went to a restaurant to pay for something, and they were like, "Oh yeah, your card has come up saying that you can't pay for it." And I goes, "Oh yeah," I goes, "Oh like," I said, "I'll put my card back in the machine." I said, "I have to approve it on my phone," and obviously this made them suspicious why I had to approve that payment on my phone, because most of the time you generally wouldn't have to expect that a customer would have to approve a payment.
Yeah.
And the lady's like going to me, she's like, "Oh, can I just ask why you have to approve it on your phone?" Like, she's like, "Because you say that you have funds in your bank." And I said to her, I goes, "Oh, like basically, like I had like fraud with my bank cards." So obviously I said to her, for a little bit of time, I had to verify my payments until the bank was satisfied that it was me. And then they kind of just, they let the payments go through now. And then I just have to sort of, if I don't believe a payment was me, I have to go on my app and sort of raise a concern.
Yeah.
But like for a while, I literally had to do every approved payment. It was embarrassing sometimes because people wouldn't understand why I had to approve it.
Mm.
And they'd be like, "Oh, okay, that's weird." And I'd be like, "Oh, it's just because of fraud." It's like the only fucking fraud I've had, but I've had people have
Yeah.
worse. My mum had someone buy something from eBay in her name,
Oh.
her date of birth, but it was sent to like it was sent to basically a warehouse, literally like the next city over from my nan's. And obviously the police turned up at my house. I came home from college to literally 2 coppers in my living room, and I'm like, all right, like it's not what I expect to come home to. And they're like,
No.
"Oh, can you sit down? Like, we need to ask you some questions as well." They're like, "Oh, we've spoke to your mum." They had to speak to my mum to confirm that they could speak to me because obviously I was under the age of 18.
Yeah.
And they were like to me, they were like, "Oh, blah, like this was bought on eBay with my mum's details, my mum's date of birth, but a different bank card than my mum, and obviously sent to a different address." They obviously wanted to know if it was me that had done it. I was like, I was like, one, I don't even know what the item is. Two, I don't have her details to eBay, so it wasn't me. The only person in my house that had the details was my brother, but my brother didn't make that like purchase
Mm.
because it was basically like something that was illegal that you shouldn't have been able to buy, but apparently someone had managed to get hold of it on eBay.
Yeah, it's really strange, that is.
Yeah, it was like because my mum, like obviously normally if you go on eBay you could go like to your orders and see like your previous orders or like current orders. Didn't show up in it either because like the police asked to see like the account, so my mum had to like log in and whatever, and like she was like basically whoever had hacked into her eBay account, they'd managed to somehow figure out how you could hide a purchase that you had made, so it physically wouldn't come up that you'd done it, but in the background it was there.
Mm.
And obviously, like I don't know how they knew that it happened, but obviously for ages, like obviously they were like nothing would happen to my mum, like no legal action would happen to her because it wasn't her. They could verify it wasn't her, but I'm like, nothing ever came out of it in the end. Like, don't know who did it, why. And I'm just like, it's why I don't trust certain like websites anymore. Like, I don't really use eBay for anything anymore after that because I was like, I ain't risking it.
Nope.
I was like, if I buy anything, I only buy off like places that I've used like a lot.
Yeah.
Or like mostly I'll try and see if I can find it like in store for cheaper because I normally tend to shop around anyway for things to try and get them a bit cheaper than the like RIP price. Just like I need to buy a capture card at the moment, but try and find one that's cheap enough.
Why do you need to get a capture card for?
I'm thinking about doing like gameplay videos, but to be able to connect them to like devices, you need like a sort of capture card to connect them from the sort of console to my laptop to be able to stream sort of through OBS, because I managed to get that working on my laptop again.
How would you be able to get it working?
I had to keep delete like for some reason I had to keep deleting it and then like just keep going back to the like website to re-download it, because like it gave me an error like the last time I tried to use it. It was like it said my GPU wasn't supported, and I was like, why? Because my GPU and my laptop is fine. It's not like it's an old one. So I was like, don't know why it doesn't work. So I had to just keep deleting it, re-downloading it. In the end, it was like, yeah, it's fine. I was like, what's your problem?
Mm.
But I was like, to do gameplay videos, it's like I can't like stream them straight through like the console. They all need like cables.
Yeah.
And the only way to do it is through a capture card. But it's like I looked at one and they want like 180 quid for it.
Bloody hell.
And I'm like, I'm not paying 180 quid for a capture card, literally just stream, like to do videos if I'm not going to use it like all of the time.
Yeah.
Because I feel like 180 quid to spend on it, like unless I'm doing that many gaming videos on a regular basis, filming them, then it warrants the money. Otherwise, it's like, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to spend the money on it. Don't have to, but I'm also like, it's just awkward because there's no other way I can film it otherwise, unless I'm literally filming the fucking TV. But then obviously the video is going to look weird because there's going to be lines on it and whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like the only way that the quality will look fine is if I use a capture card and film it that way.
Yeah.
But it's like, I ain't paying that much for a capture card. I'm like, don't need it that badly.
No. Right, Chelsea, I'm gonna head off now, alright?
Yeah.
Because I'm tired and it's getting late.
Yeah.
Right, so I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be on tomorrow.
Alright, see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's good night.
Good night.
Good night. See you on the flip.